Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to Joni's 50s Diner. We're going to put up a video today of Pennsylvania Dutch potato filling. I have most of the items out here on the table that you're going to need. Some chicken broth, some bread slices, eggs, parsley, butter, lots of butter. Everything's better with butter. Onion, poultry seasoning, celery, and a big old bag of potatoes, and half and half or milk, whichever is better. So we're gonna prep everything and come back and show you the first step. Okay, we're back. We prepped the onion, a large onion we chopped down. We also prepped about a half of a whole stalk of celery. They're all cut down small pieces. We have about 5 to 7 pounds of potatoes that we've peeled, and we are going to cut those up and boil them down. Because basically we're making a mashed potatoes with the potatoes, and we're going to add a bunch of items, the onions, the celery, to the mashed potatoes. So we're going to take this over to the stove, and at the stove in a frying pan we're going to put half a stick of butter, and we're going to melt that down. And as you're cooking down the onions and the celery, you want to watch. You might need to add more butter, so I keep the butter here ready. We're going to add the onions and the celery. We're going to cook that until they're somewhat translucent, and at that point in time you're going to add some poultry seasoning to it. So we will let this cook down, and we're going to go back and cut down the potatoes for the mashed potatoes. And I have water boiling here on the stove, starting to boil, and to that I'm going to add some chicken stock, chicken broth, because that helps give some flavor to the potatoes as you're cooking them. We're going to add that in, and I would say about half of like a big container box like this, and some salt. And once that's boiling, then you can add your cut potatoes. Okay, so we're going to cut down the potatoes. I usually cut them in half, and then cut them in half again. And then you want them all to be pretty uniform so that everything cooks down evenly. So we'll cut all these, and when the water is just about boiling, throw the potatoes in there. We'll let them cook for about 15-20 minutes until they're fork tender. The onions are somewhat translucent, so we're going to add the poultry seasoning to the onions and celery. I'd say it's about 2 handfuls, and you just drop that around down into it's a little easier just to do that. And you can add a little bit more butter. All in all, for the onions and the celery, you're going to use up probably about a whole stick of butter. And you just keep at the onions, keep stirring them. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them down to caramelization, and that's where all the flavor is. And this is going to take about 10 minutes or so till that happens. My water is boiling, so I can add my potatoes. And we're going to let them cook, like I said, until they are fork tender. Okay, so this is what the onions and celery should look like. So they're nice and tender, and they have a little bit of brown bits. That's where all your flavor's at. So you can let this sit now until you're ready to add them to the mashed potatoes and all the other good stuff. We have some butter here. We're going to add butter. And I'm going to do about a half a stick right now. I'm going to add some milk. Like I said, you're basically making mashed potatoes. Some salt, pepper. Cheers. Now the pepper. And we're going to mash them up with a mixer. So you want to keep mashing until it's all creamy. I'm going to add the rest of the half a stick of butter here. Alright, so they're not, I don't think I would eat these as mashed potatoes. I would add a little bit more milk to them and make them a little creamier, but we're going to be adding milk and liquid to it, so I don't want them to be too loose. Okay, so now to this, we are going to take pepper. Let's put this back over here. We have a couple slices of bread. We got about, I'm going to use 5. I'm going to add some milk to the bread and let that soak up the milk. And then we're going to add 3 eggs. I'm going to put some parsley. I chopped up some parsley already before when we did the onions and the celery. And it was a pretty big handful of parsley I chopped up. Add that in there. I'm going to get the onions and the celery that we cooked up. Get everything in there. Okay. right now you can just kind of mix this around like with your spoon, but we're also going to mix it with the mixer too. Incorporate everything in there. Okay. This can be messy. It's hot. You can see I have my hair up. So we're doing Thanksgiving dinner today. So there's a turkey in the oven filled with bread filling. And now we want the potato filling, because this is what I love. My husband likes the bread filling. I like the potato filling. So you can see I mushed up that bread and milk. I'm going to add that into potato filling. Now this is where you use the chicken broth. I gotta go wash my hand. You use the chicken broth because you want the potato filling to be slightly loose. And now it's where we mix. Mix everything in there. Okay, the egg there. I'm gonna add just a tad of chicken broth. And you want it to be loose because we're going to bake this, and you don't want it to get dried out. So around a little more, and then we're going to take a little taste and see what it tastes like. Looks good, because we might need to add a little bit more salt and pepper, but we're going to try. Let's see. Oh, perfect. I could eat it just like this. That does have some raw eggs in it, which I guess is still okay. People make mashed potatoes and put some egg in it too. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to butter a casserole dish. I'm going to put all the potato filling in there. Goes into the oven at 350 degrees for 1 hour, and then we take it out. We'll be back when it's done. Oh, is it on? Okay. Okay, we're back. Potato filling smells like it's done, so let's take it out of the oven and take a look at it, see what it's doing. It's in the oven for 1 hour. It's going to be hot. We buttered the casserole dish that we put it in before we put the filling in. Covered it with aluminum foil. Now look at that. That looks delicious. So you could also use this to fill your turkey also. But my husband prefers bread filling to fill the turkey. So this is your Pennsylvania Dutch potato filling. Family loves it. It's delicious. Some good gravy on here. It's going to be super hot. We'll just take a little bit of a taste. Can't wait for the turkey to be done. Another 45 minutes for that. Check out my other videos on Joni's 50s Diner. We're going to have a few more put up here shortly. Thanks for watching, and happy Thanksgiving.